Welcome everyone to our second Intertrust CleanGrid Masterclass. We hope that you're all safe and well. My name is Florian Kolb, and together with Henry Klemmer, CEO of Hepta, we will talk about a very cool topic today, which is how to use drone technologies, AI, and advanced data operations to revolutionize grid inspection and grid resilience. Hepta and Intertrust recently announced a strategic partnership to bring complementary capabilities together for the benefit of customers around the world. The three questions that we will cover: number one, how can drones be used to improve and automate asset inspection? Question number two, what are the resulting data challenges from that? And question number three, how do Hepta and Intertrust resolve these challenges together? Intertrust is a Silicon Valley technology company with teams in the US, Europe, and Asia. And I worked 15 years in the European utility industry, first with RWE, then Innogy, which is now E.ON. Since 2015, I'm based in San Francisco and the Bay Area, and I led RWE's Silicon Valley innovation activities for 5 years. And this comprised forging strategic partnerships and participations. And I also led the group-wide data initiative and development of data-driven business model. Henry, over to you.
Hey, happy to be here. So yeah, perhaps short introduction from my side. So hello, everyone. First of all, Hepta is an Estonian-based tech company with both teams and customers across the EU, from the Nordics, Baltics to Germany and Western EU. And yeah, this year has been interesting. We have agreed on partnerships with the first prominent organizations in the US and South America. And from my personal perspective and my personal background, I worked around 12 plus years in the energy sector. My career has revolved around digitizing infrastructure and power lines with different methods. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm the founder of a successful consultancy company that designs electricity networks, street lights, smart building, and smart city solutions. And today, I'm here as a founder and the CEO of Hepta Airborne, where our mission is to improve the efficiency of technical analysis of power lines through using AI and automation. And to make it very clear and simple, we detect defects in the infrastructure that might cause failures and bring them to the asset owners.
That sounds great. So let's switch gears a little bit and dive deeper into Hepta. So why did you start the company as a serial entrepreneur?
Yeah, I enjoyed the question, as this question always brings exciting memories, because the concept of Hepta has been cooking over a decade. It started when I was working for a local utility in Estonia, a junior engineer doing the on-ground inspection. That was during my bachelor degree. We had to cover hundreds of kilometers a month on foot, and we all know that power lines are everywhere. So that means that we had to crawl in the swamps, climb on trees, swim through rivers to access another pole of the power line. And yeah, fun facts, like during one summer, I had 2 of my colleagues running from bears. And that's just the tough side of work. But there's also the downside of having the subjective view of a human eye, evaluating the condition of your assets. And of course, we make mistakes, we're human beings. Because we're not just sensors with centimeter level accuracy. And yeah, so this was the first touching point of inspecting power lines in my career. Multiple years forward, I founded my consultancy company. We started doing helicopter inspections, so manned helicopter inspections, way more advanced. Several sensors were installed under the belly of the helicopter. We flew thousands of kilometers in a matter of 2 weeks. The asset owner received completely digital sensor data, very accurate and detailed. However, after a few years of helicopter inspection, we concluded that this inspection solution is accessible to chosen utilities. And those chosen utilities are the ones that have sufficient funds, because helicopter inspection naturally is quite not only complex, but it's expensive. And that led to a conclusion that still today, at the smart grid era and digitized grids era, when it comes down to detecting the physical condition of your assets, the wear and tear, and still more than 90% of power lines are being inspected by on-ground methods where bears are chasing men. So we founded Hepta to change that, to take men out of hazardous working environments. And with the help of drones, satellites, AI, we give them superpowers to perform work faster and with higher quality.
Oh, that sounds like is an awesome story. And the first part of your story sounds more like a survival camp than actually power line inspection. So beers and swamps and whatever. So that's great. Can you explain to us a bit what problems you're actually solving?
Sure. Well, first of all, power lines are designed and built to withstand 50 plus years in the ambient environment. And that means that these assets, they need proper maintenance to distribute electricity for such a long time period. I mean, we also know in well-developed countries, power lines that the life that are older than, let's say, 100 years. And that means that the steel poles and structures might get rusty. The wooden poles might start to rot. Or hey, there's the woodpeckers, right, for the wooden poles, or cracks and holes in the concrete, and so forth. Because the wind, snowfall, icing, all these components, they affect the grid. And of course, then there's the vegetation, always growing, and loose wires, and so forth. And what we're doing from the conceptual perspective is that basically we are solving these problems. We are finding these problems. We are the eyes of utilities. We create reports of their assets conditions that help utilities to make investment decisions into repair works. However, from the novelty perspective, because this is the same thing that the on-ground teams and helicopters are also doing, then from the novelty perspective, we bring those reports to utilities with benefits. That is faster. As an example, to one of our previous or actually existing customers that maintains around 70,000 kilometers of power lines, we decreased their inspection cycle. The inspection cycle is a cycle for how long the utility analyzes and inspects the whole grid, the whole 70,000 kilometers. So we took that inspection cycle down or scaled it down from 7 years to 2.5 years only. So that's fast. Another component, of course, is safer. So taking those men out of hazardous working environments, so they're not being chased by bears. And of course, the third component is quality and accuracy. In extreme cases, we have been able to increase the accuracy comparing to conventional methods over 400%. And what that means is that if one is analyzing a power line with conventional method or replaces it with our method, then per one single infrastructure kilometer, we just find significantly more defects. So and that means that your grid eventually also gets digitized. You will get images, ortho mosaics, thermal, infrared, of course, 3D point clouds and LiDAR data. So what we do is we create a Google Street View on steroids, and we do it in a sustainable way. As an example, our solution comparing to manned helicopter inspections pollutes air up to 106 times less than conventional method. So yeah, all in all, these are the problems that we solve at the moment.
Sounds great. And how actually do you solve them? So how does it work?
So we analyze the grid, the mechanical defects, vegetation. We assess everything that's happening in the right of way, in the danger zone of the power line. But what's happening behind the curtains is that the core product is the AI-driven software that detects anomalies in the grid automatically. So that means that if you upload your inspection data, our machine learning models digest all the terabytes of data analyze them, and leave the less confident results to the human engineers. So it's important to emphasize that AI, or let's say the machine learning driven analysis, is here not to replace human beings, but it has a supportive role. It gives your team superpowers to conduct more work with higher efficiency and quality.
Excellent. And what's your secret sauce?
Yeah. So well, basically, I would answer it from the point of view that, let's say, why our customers decide to choose Hepta, and why we have these long-term relationships with our customers that we have. As an example, one of the 70,000 kilometer example, that customer extended the 3-year agreement to another 5 years. One of the last customers converted directly from pilot to 10-year agreement. And so the customers trust us, and I bring out probably 2 reasons why they decide to go with us. And the first one is that our AI is supported by our team, and this AI, with the deep interaction and collaboration with the engineers, detects defects and failures, not just detects elements of the grid. And we always guarantee 100% quality of the results, which means that it's not just data that has been handled by an AI, and then eventually you don't know if this is a clean data and if this is valuable for you, but you will receive 100% correct results. And the second thing that I would outline is that we don't just do software, but we also understand that the scale, or in order to actually excel in novel inspection methods, the data acquisition heavily influences the data analysis, and of course the training of the models for the data analysis. So, and that is the major reason why we also train our customers or their local partners, the inspection teams, to collect data efficiently and of course safely. And then we teach them how to operate drones, what kind of sensors to use, should they involve satellite data, and so forth. So all in all, 0 previous experience needed, 0 hardware on your balance sheet needed. We will just walk you through everything. Let's just kick off tomorrow.
Excellent. So you mentioned the data acquisition, and I think that's a perfect segue also into your partnership with Intertrust. So can you explain to us what data challenges you see with your customers?
Sure. Well, basically, the data that Hepta captures is sensitive because it covers critical infrastructure, the power lines. And another aspect is the data needs to be stored in an accessible and secure and trusted environments. And of course, always when data, or let's say when moved around, the data should be exposed to a minimum level. So, and I think this is something where Intertrust kicks in. So what do you think, Florian?
Yeah, sure. I mean, let me briefly explain you for the folks here on the webinar who we are. So our Intertrust data platform activities and energy are called CleanGrid. And this is a startup we initiated around 3 years ago. And we have good partners. So we have some iconic corporates from different verticals that are our shareholders. So from the energy vertical, it's E.ON, Origin Energy from Australia. From the healthcare vertical, it's Philips. And then from consumer electronics, it's Sony and Panasonic, plus a big Silicon Valley-based venture capital firm. And we believe there is no clean energy without clean data. And actually, we solve the problem of clean data. So what does that mean? If we look at the energy value chain, and you explained the distribution part of it, it's very complex. And with the ongoing decentralization of the energy systems, so more distributed energy resources, more electrical vehicles, this complexity is growing exponentially. And the amount of data generated by the energy system is also increasing exponentially, with IoT and smart hardware being deployed, and also capturing data from other sources like from drones and from satellites and so on. And we believe that this data needs to be managed and processed to keep the energy system efficient and in balance. And it needs to be managed and processed in very smart ways. And what we see with energy companies is that they are facing 4 core problems when it comes around data. So problem number 1, the data is very hard and very difficult to discover. Problem number 2, data cannot be accessed because of technical constraints. So think about different data types, different data stores, different cloud systems, proprietary data centers, and so on. The problem number 3 that we address is that the data cannot be shared efficiently, securely, and trusted within an organization and also across organization. So moving things around, as you mentioned, Henry, is not so easy always. And then the problem number 4 that we take care about is that data and algorithms and AI cannot easily be paired without exposing the data or the algorithm. And typically pairing these things is a complex technical and also legal process. And that's what we are trying to simplify. So our product is called CleanGrid, and it's based on our horizontal technology Intertrust platform. And this is a unique combination of different innovative data technologies that are trying to solve the problems that I've just outlined. So we have 3 core technologies embedded in CleanGrid. Technology number 1 is what we call data virtualization. So this data virtualization simply means that data can be aggregated and blended across different data sources or data stores without moving or copying the data. So you can access the data, algorithms can access the data without moving or copying it into a data lake or a virtual data warehouse or a data warehouse. So we can create completely new virtual data sets which didn't exist before. And the time required and also the cost incurred for acquiring and blending the data is therefore lowered dramatically. The second technology circles around data governance. So these virtualized data sets are fully protected and access rights to data can be granted on a very fine-grained level via easy to use and very efficient administrative interfaces. And with CleanGrid, we fulfill the most challenging and strict data regulations that exist also around electrical infrastructure and grids. And of course, this is very important from a data security and data privacy and also data governance perspective. And the third element that we are using is called a secure execution environment. And in this environment, we bring data and AI together in a very unique and very protected way. So the data owner and the AI owner do not get access to the data or the code. And what this does is it reduces the time to AI dramatically and also enables completely new applications. So that's in a nutshell what we are up to. And I think we should talk a little bit about our partnership, because we have the data acquisition side, and then we have like the data management and the data processing side. So question to you, Henry. Why did you decide to partner with Intertrust, and why do you think this is a good idea to work together?
Sure. Well, first of all, I just believe in the power of ecosystems. I mean, today's digital landscape is hyper complex, and customers want solutions that are easy to implement and that actually work. And the data generated by Hepta system is, I'd say, it's somewhat sensitive. It's very sensitive, and typically it's proprietary. We also capture a significant amount of data on customers' assets, so power lines, the visual data. Processing, moving, and accessing this data in a secure and trusted way is therefore quite important, and for all our customers and prospects. And I believe this requires also to develop efficient data operations over time. In many regions, the data must be kept securely for audit purposes and subsequent analysis. And since the drones can sometimes image sensitive infrastructure, personal property, and people, privacy of drone collected data is also a major concern. So these data operations areas are basically, or are quite exactly the areas actually where Hepta and Intertrust, I believe, create quite impactful synergies.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that the CleanGrid's data rights management system allows Hepta and its customers to govern the data and to manage compliance with internal, local, and also national regulatory requirements. And so that's I think one aspect. Another aspect is that the Hepta system and CleanGrid can be implemented quickly and very cost efficient into existing environments, which I think is a very important aspect for customers, because I think if you look to environments, then even if you simplify them, so I think we have a slide on that, then very quickly it can get pretty complex and also very messy. So we have like a wealth of data stores that already exist in a grid operation. So you have ADMS systems, platforms, aggregation, new data showing up, which typically leads to significant integration efforts. And what we believe, by using the CleanGrid toolkit, you can do that in a very neat and efficient and effective way. So we've demonstrated that many times in very complex environment where it was like more a matter of a few days or weeks to get things set up and to get data flowing, rather than many weeks or many months and a lot of euros that had to be spent. So I think that's a good thing. It's very nice for data consumers because they get actually quicker what they're really looking for. And also we talk about AI, machine learning, collaboration, startup all the time. And one of the questions that needs to be answered is, how do we get all the data that algorithms need to crunch and to process to the algorithm? And I think there are problems we outlined and improvements that can be made. And I think the latter is maybe really important because with this system, we allow various value chain users of data to access the data and the resulting analysis in a governed fashion. Nobody wants a lack of clarity where the data comes from, where it goes to, and who's using it. And what's also nice here is we can combine this with other sensitive data sets in a manner that complies with regulatory requirements, as already mentioned, including GDPR, data residency, and also various energy regulations that are common in grid operations. And so I think all in all, this makes Hepta's value proposition for customers very unique. And it also, which is important, provides significant differentiation versus competitors. So this is like a very strong bundle and package. Henry, would you agree?
Definitely, without a doubt, and I especially agree on the aspect that you brought out with the data and algorithms that where the AI actually cannot be paired without exposing the data to or the algorithms. And I think this is something which is still a growing issue in the industry. And pairing is complex. It's complex in terms of both technicality, or the technical side, and the legal side of the process. And I feel that here Intertrust plays a major role in being the magician behind the curtains that actually enables to make the whole appearance smooth to the end user, to the audience. So definitely, there's a lot of potential there.
So we hope this was a useful overview for all of you. I think this is a very good example of how innovative companies partner together in the data space. In case you want to dive deeper, please reach out to Henry or myself. We are very easy to find. We will upload the slides to the event page. And also, in case you would like to learn more about the CleanGrid Partner Program, please also reach out to us. Thank you very much. Stay healthy and safe and have a wonderful summer. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.